liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask if everyone could turn their cell phones to airplane mode. There's interference when people are scrolling through their emails through the YouTube feed, so I'd like to try to reduce that as much as we can. Do you want to go through the rules of order first?
Carol, did you want me to defer on that?
Yeah.
We don't really have anybody here tonight.
Okay. All right.
Just point them out at the back, I guess.
All right, so the first part of this meeting is a public hearing to discuss and for discussion, consideration, and possible voting on an ordinance establishing the fiscal year 24 operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30, 2024. This public hearing is being held to solicit your comments and suggestions regarding the proposed fiscal year 2024 operating budget and the 5-year capital improvement plan. The proposed budget has been posted on the town's website since February 10th. A public input meeting followed by a council budget workshop was held on February 28th, and the budget ordinances were introduced on March 7th town council meeting. The town council and the town staff welcome your input regarding the budget. This is another opportunity for you to share your thoughts. The town council is currently scheduled to vote to consider adoption of the budget at today's meeting. The following guidelines will be followed this afternoon. If you wish to speak at this meeting, please sign the attendance sheet or raise your hand when the comment section begins. For the record, please identify yourself by name, the Ocean View address before making your comments for the public record. We ask you that you limit your remarks to no more than 10 minutes. If the previous speaker has already covered the topic you wish to address and you have nothing to add, I ask that you refrain from speaking or simply confirm that you agree or disagree. Please remember that this is a public hearing to discuss the fiscal year 2024 comments and budgets and comments should be focused on that topic only. Following this meeting, the council will be provided with a synopsis of the comments made during the public hearing. Thank you in advance for your participation. I'm now going to ask the town manager to make some comments.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We're happy to be here today to offer the FY24 operating budget and capital program for consideration and possible vote. The process to get to this point began last fall in earnest with our departments actually engaging in obtaining quotes, forecasting, and identifying projects throughout the past year. In truth, work has already begun for our FY25 budget as well. I just want to thank and let all of our department directors know that I appreciate all of their engagement during the whole process that made it go smoothly, and Dawn also for her budget preparation leadership. As you all know, I believe our budget follows the Government Finance Officers Association guidelines and best practices for local government budget development. Just want to go over some highlights. We are maintaining the property tax rate at 0.2378 per $100 of assessed value that was originally set in April a year ago, and which represented at the time a 3-cent tax rate reduction equal to 11%. The cost of living adjustment of 6.393 has been included. We're continuing our seasonal and code enforcement and police department front desk paid positions that continue to be included in the budget in front of you. Funding to offer a full lineup of community events throughout the year. The funding to hire an additional police officer in association with our staffing Lord Baltimore Elementary School with a school resource officer. Street rehab projects for 17 portions of town road totaling $718,220, and required changes to the fee schedules. with the overall budget resulting in an operating budget of $5,921,190, including a staffing headcount of 29, which is made up of 26 full-time, 1 part-time, and 2 seasonal positions, and a capital program totaling $4,577,540, which covers drainage projects, sidewalks, replacement, police vehicles, and miscellaneous capital repairs and replacements. Our timeline this year included the opportunity for Mayor and Council to provide initial guidance in early January at the council meeting. This step allowed us to begin our drafting of the budget with certain expectations and key assumptions included. By early February, the first draft was presented to Mayor and Council and available to the public. As noted by Mayor Reddington, a budget workshop was held in February to solicit public input as well as additional feedback from the council. In March, budget ordinances were that you may consider today were introduced. No changes have been made since that time. Following questions, if you're so inclined, we'll be looking for 2 motions to be made and voted on, one each separately for the operating budget and the capital budget. And we thank Mayor and Council for your consistent and thoughtful engagement throughout the whole process.
Thank you. Before I ask the public if there's any comments, I'd like to ask the town council if you have any further comments or suggestions.
Mr. Mayor, a couple comments. When the budget was first proposed, 208 pages, with the support documentation, I'm sure the council members went through it, and I know personally I did. I want to thank the town and employees and yourself for being able to ask these questions. I think I had 58 questions. Whether that's a lot, I don't know. Some of them were kind of goofy. But it really did give me a great feeling and understanding of the budget. And what was even better is the budget has room next year. We don't know what economic certain times hold for us, but there's still wiggle room in the budget. So I thought it thoughtful, well presented, well documented. And I thank the town as well as you and your leadership on providing this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Any other comments? If not, I open it to the public. Are there any people on the YouTube that might want to ask a question? Anyone in the audience that would like to ask a question? If not, then I would need a motion to pass the ordinance establishing the fiscal year 24 operating budget for fiscal year ending April 30, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the operating budget for fiscal year 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Moving on to discussion, consideration, and possible voting on the ordinance establishing the revision of the capital expenditures budget for fiscal years April 30, 2024 to 28. Any comments, suggestions about this? Anything from the public? Hearing none, I'm asking for a motion to pass the ordinance establishing the revision of the capital expenditure budget for fiscal years April 30, 2024 to 28.
Motion to pass an ordinance establishing the revision of the capital expenditures budget for fiscal years April 30th, 2024 through 2028.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes. Thank you. I now ask for an adoption of the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I now ask for the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting for March 14, 2023.
Motion to approve the regular minutes from March 14, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. I'm now going to move one item of business from new business to this point in time, and it's number 8B. I understand you have an event you need to go to, and so we're going to jump ahead and discuss consideration of possible voting on a municipal-wide discount ambulance subscription service agreement for additional 3 years. Don, you're going to,
I can say a couple comments.
okay.
Yes, so this is the discounted water ambulance subscription service that the town has had in effect with Millville Fire Company for some time. What you have before you is a revised, very slightly, agreement. It includes a couple things that we talked about briefly at your last meeting, moving from a $35 subscription fee to a $50 subscription fee to cover the necessary costs, and also just some cleanup of language that is more appropriate for the actual agreement and how the two entities work together. So very slight changes were made from the original that has been in place for some time. So we do have a representative from representatives from Millville Fire Company here to present to you. This is something that also gets sent out with our tax bill, so it's time sensitive.
So I actually have a question, and but before that, just to give you a brief explanation of it. We've been charging the other residents outside of the incorporated area, with the exception of a couple developments that we have on board with this reduced fee program. They've been paying $75 for quite some time, and your guys' fee has been $35, so we would like to raise the fee for the incorporated area up to $50 to make it more in line with what other people are paying outside of the incorporated area. Carol sent us some changes that she wanted in the contract, and I had the EMS chief take care of those changes. I just have one question about the dates of it. Is the reasoning for that something to do with the town collecting the fees or the fiscal year for the town or something? And the reason I ask that, we would like to, instead of having several contracts in our regular subscription, all different dates, we would like to coordinate it, pretty much at the same time. So that's my question.
What date are you referring to? The date of their subscription or the date of the contract, of our agreement?
No, the date of the subscription.
That's what I was trying to find. What is the dates of the subscription?
Ours is June or July?
June 1.
So,
And yours, I think, what Carol sent was like September or something.
Well,
right?
we just need to have, we need to be able to bill it and be able to turn it over to you by the end of our fiscal year,
no.
and end of the calendar year.
We bill in May, and it's not due till August 31st. So we collect the funds from them and we turn it over to you by the end of September. That's where the October 1 to September 30, because you would think that we would collect everything and those people. What happens if somebody has ambulance service on August 1st and then does not pay it? That's my question. We'll use whatever is what your actual subscription is, but it's not for the next year, is it? It's for the current year.
Yeah,
Like,
it's for this year coming up.
it's for this year coming up. So if the subscription starts June 1st and it's not due till the 31st, there's that 2-month lag there that if they don't pay it, they could possibly get service.
Yeah,
So maybe we just need to talk about what happens then.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we just kind of assume that
Everybody's gonna-
everybody pays, and when the EMS supervisor, when there's a call someplace, when the EMS supervisor, he looks it up to make sure whether it's in town or out of town, and when it's in town, that's sort of the end of it. We don't keep a list of 20 people haven't paid.
Okay, we do supply that. Who did?
I
Who
don't think
did?
he looks at it.
Okay, okay. So that would be a change to
So,
the agreement. We could amend the
we can
agreement.
amend the agreement, I just wanna make sure, so we are providing you the list. Are you saying that you would catch up after, the end of August, when we provide the list of who paid?
Man,
Or no?
I think it's really not that big a deal. I just was questioning. I think best thing to do is you continue to provide the list, and
Mhm.
and we'll just make Ocean Views effective whenever you guys want, and then that way, because it's really not fair if some people aren't paying. It's not fair for them.
Yeah, that would be
Start
my
the system.
concern.
That was my,
Yeah.
yes.
So
that was
ours
the
would
only
be
reason.
best
October 1st to
October
September.
1st.
October 1st, okay.
Okay, so
Then
with
it
that
takes us-
said, we're gonna change the dates back
No, they're on, that's what they are, on the agreement.
on the new one.
The new agreement, we have October 1st through September 30th.
I'm looking at May 1st.
No, not not the term of our agreement. It is under coverage number 3.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
This is what the
Perfect.
citizens subscription, yes.
Then that'll align with when they're actually paying us, and then in turn, transfers to you.
Okay.
We're good with that. I was just wondering why there was a difference, so I understand it.
Okay.
Did you have another question?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think you might have a question.
I have one. In raising the rate from 35 to 50, which I still think is the best deal out there, have you anticipated people dropping out because of that increase? Do you have a factor involved, 10%, 2%, 3%? Have you considered that?
As far as the non-contracted areas, outside of Millville and outside of Ocean View and outside of the developments that we have under contract, we did consider raising that this year and decided not to because we were afraid some people may not pay it.
Right.
And I kind of feel like the people that are in the town of Ocean View and in the town of Millville and the other 5 developments that we have under contract, I kind of feel like they're gonna pay it, and they are getting a discount anyway, and our payroll, with the number of paid people we have on staff up there, and their salaries, insurances, everything that goes along with that, it's like right around $1.5 million just to keep career people in the station. We don't survive without them. And ambulances cost around $400,000. The cost of everything is going up. So we pretty much have to raise it.
Well, again, being a big supporter of, and would definitely feel good about, it's the best deal in town, as long as you don't get a heavy deletion of people, because boom, that's the only thing that I'd be careful of, whether it's this year or the next time you go. Best deal in town.
We did consider that when we talked about raising it in the unincorporated areas.
Okay.
We probably really honestly need to do a better job of making people, I feel like we're a little weak in making people understand what the benefit is.
The value, sure.
You know, if they call an ambulance at their address and somebody gets transported, their insurance company will get billed, but they won't get a bill personally. And if they don't have that subscription, the cost of ambulance service has gotten expensive.
Sure, there was an
So
ambulance,
it's a pretty good deal.
6:30 Sea Lane, right at the end of my court on Sunday morning. There was an ambulance call, so.
I'll let you know that we actually have guidance and frequently asked questions that we hand to people when they ask about it. Due to the increase this year, we're actually gonna send it out with the tax books.
That'd be great.
So I'll get it for you. Well, I've got some changes to make to it, but I'll get you a copy to you so you know what we're handing out.
So every property owner will get it.
Yes,
Yeah, that's good.
with their tax bill. Hopefully they'll read it.
Are there any other comments or questions before we,
I have a question. So is the increase, is the town of Ocean View excuse me, the town of Millville, have they voted for the same increase?
That vote will be coming this evening.
Okay. So they're doing the same thing, 35 to 50.
And we also have 5 developments under contract, same as the 2 towns.
That was my next question. So
As those developments, as their contract expires,
they'll roll.
yeah, they're gonna be required to pay. As long as this passes and it passes in Millville, they're gonna be required to pay 50 also.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The Millville Fire Department, we really depend on both towns as much as you guys depend on us when you guys need help. The county's growing rapidly, as we all know. Right now, the fire company is not receiving any more county funding than what we did years and years and years ago. I've been to the council in regards to more funding. A lot of fire departments in Sussex County are really starting to suffer now, especially on the EMS side. We're trying to get things changed, but right now EMS, countywide, even statewide, is really starting to hurt because of funding. This area is growing rapidly. Costs are going up, labor's going up. We could probably stand to have another whole crew on, to be honest with you. We just can't afford it right now. But EMS is really costing us quite a bit of money at this time. So we greatly appreciate all you guys do. We greatly appreciate everything Millville's done for us as well. And again, we can't make it without you guys. And just like, you guys depend on us. We greatly appreciate everything.
It's getting very expensive for the bigger departments on the east side of the county, where the development's at. They all have a bunch of career staff. They won't get ambulances out. Some of them won't get fire trucks out without the career people. And there's just such a difference in the county between the east side and some smaller area like Greenwood or Gumber or someplace. It's, in my opinion, the county is getting behind times a little bit.
Just a follow-up to Councilman Walsh. What is your read of the town of Millville's decision? Are they, you think they're moving forward with it?
I don't want to speak for them, but I have a very good feeling that they are going to move forward.
What if our council votes to go to the 50 tonight and today, and then later that doesn't occur with Millville? What, where do we stand, or where do they stand with what their rate's going to be?
I've heard zero negativity on the Millville Council side of what's being presented tonight. I personally attended their meeting last month. Never heard any negativity on there either. But again, I don't want to speak for them, just because I don't want to give you guys any false information that I don't know for sure.
Sure. I just want to make clear the point I'm trying to make is you can understand that town of Ocean View property owners, if they're paying 50 and a neighboring town, incorporated town, remains to pay 35, that would be problematic?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
One of you has to vote first. We can't have the
I know,
same
I know what come first, but I just want to make sure that it's clear and it's on the public
So
record.
can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
That the, if the town wanted to, they could make a motion to approve the agreement, subject to a determination of the vote of the town of Millville, and if it determines that they're not going to match the rate, they'd give you the latitude to bring the agreement back before them.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessarily, I'm just saying if that's a
Yeah.
concern.
I mean,
because
I
would
don't
agree.
think it would make sense for that to happen, but I just want to.
I don't think it'll be an issue, but they haven't voted, so we
Yeah,
can't say for
exactly.
sure.
Okay, I think that's a good compromise.
Well, I'm not sure that I agree with that.
I don't.
Yeah, I think the other municipalities that will pay the $50 per person, and one town not doing it, doesn't mean that the rest of us should not pay our fair share either. So I don't want to put that as a caveat.
Mr. Mayor, I wholeheartedly agree. Just because Millville, and I think they're going to vote yes, they say no. The good people of the town of Ocean View, we strongly support Millville Fire Department, the EMS, and I think we can do 50, irregardless of what they vote.
And you can look at it like this. The town is doing the citizens that live in the town of Ocean View a service, because you're collecting the fee and you're getting them a reduced rate. If this is not in place, then they're going to get a subscription from us for $75, and if they choose not to pay it, they're going to be billed.
Let's be the leader.
Keep in mind, it's a voluntary It's a voluntary fee.
Understand.
Yep. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I would need a motion on the municipal-wide discount ambulance subscription service agreement for the additional 3 years.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion, that we approve the new subscription agreement, moving the rate from $35 to $50. And proud to do it.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Thank you all so much.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back to the original agenda, and we'll have communications, the election results. I guess Mayor Pro Tem Manley is gonna give those for us.
He has them right here. Okay, results of the April 8th, 2023 elections, the mayoral race. Candidate Reddington received 175 votes, candidate Robust 88. So the current mayor, Mayor John Reddington, will be leading us for the next 3 years. And in District 3, Jay Tominski was declared the winner because Mr. Jennison withdrew.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, I want to thank all the people of Ocean View that came out to vote Saturday. It was a cold day. I froze my you-know-what off while I was standing around for 9 hours. But I represent all the people of Ocean View, not just those who voted for me. So I'm looking forward to the next 3 years, and as I had mentioned during my campaign, that I wanted to make sure that I can improve the quality of life of the people of Ocean View. So thank you very much for your support. Okay, moving on to Charles Kistler, Help Initiative.
So, if it's okay, I'd like to put this on this table here.
Sure.
Okay.
This is health and safety kit, and then I'd like to just share these with you. This is very relevant to the discussion you just had about the first responders.
Thank you.
All right, so first, thank you, Council, Mayor, Council, Chief, thank you. So I represent a nonprofit called the Help Initiative. We started our business back in 2016 in the capital city of Dover. And we started with the light bulb. All right, so this is a dusk to dawn light bulb. So you put it in, and it measures lumen level based on this sensor, and it goes off at night, goes on at night, goes off in the morning. Costs about $3 a year. LED, it's about 60 watt equivalent. To date, we've installed 12,400 homes in the state of Delaware since 2017. And the whole driving force behind this was about putting light on the street and reducing criminal activity. And it worked. Think about that, just a light bulb, it worked. So we took a study based on hard data that we collected in Milford and put together a report and gave it to the Attorney General so that we could possibly get funded further to do more of this kind of work. And since 2017, not only have we installed over 12,000 homes with these lighting measures, this solar motion floodlight, 1,000 lumens of light, basically 120 degrees field of view. We've been successful in getting the front door of homes open in tough neighborhoods, in underserved communities, high concentrated areas of criminal activity. And it's allowed us to get through the front door and go into the house and do some health and safety issues. So, recently the governor gave us $2.5 million to do more of this good work. And I live here, and I thought if we were going to do some of this, we should be doing it here in Ocean View as well. And we've done this work in Newcastle County with the police department. We've done it with the city of Wilmington. We've installed 1,900 homes in Wilmington. We've done 600, 800 homes in Dover. We've been in several other cities, Seaford, Laurel, Milford, Harrington recently. And what's happened is this public safety initiative has sort of morphed its way into doing more creative things. In addition to going in and putting these measures free to the residents that are vulnerable, the elderly, single mothers with children, and of course areas of criminal activity. We've been able to get more funding to be able to do things like video. So we're in the process now of working with the chief and his department in putting out license plate reader technology. Basically cameras that are mounted that read vehicle traffic, and that data is collected and stored in the cloud for access by the police department. Not just this police department, but any police department within the state of Delaware. And it's stored for 30 days. We've also added residential cameras, wireless, solar-powered residential cameras for the same reason. And basically, the resident has rights to the camera and the storage over a 30-day period. And the only time that we will get involved as a nonprofit is when the law enforcement agency contacts us through evidence.com that they need footage for a specific date and time. That avoids marked police cars in uniform, people coming up to the door of houses and asking for or subpoenaing that individual for that footage. It also avoids any backlash from the neighborhoods about being a whistleblower. So the reason why I'm here now is because we've issued an MOU for your consideration to be able to do four things we outlined. One is to identify, and Mayor, to your point about improving quality of life, that's quality of life improvements. Those measures are extremely important to being able to, nightlights in particular, trips and falls, but there are other measures in there, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, first aid kits, so on and so forth. So with the help of the town, what we'd like to do is identify those organizations that we could work with to be able to install, not just deliver, but install these measures in homes of people that are in need. Right? And in addition to that, work with the police department to deploy these LPR camera technology, to work with the police department to identify areas where we could put residential cameras in with the full approval of the resident, being able to do that and use it, either a doorbell or a wireless camera itself. And then be able to work with the community organizations and be able to, again, identify and make people aware of these services. The biggest challenge we have as a nonprofit in this state is awareness. There are a lot of people that are eligible for this, they don't even know about it. So we call it compounding words. They don't know what they don't know. So this is what it takes, going in and doing this kind of thing. My counterpart, my partner, Hal Stafford, is standing right in front of the Newcastle County Council right now, doing the same thing I'm doing here. And again, it's just a basic sort of understanding about what's available and how we can do this. So I have 15 people that work with me. Half of them are bilingual in Spanish and English, and 2 speak French Creole. We're a very diverse group, and we're a nonprofit, and our conviction is about loving people. And man, we need it out there today. So I'm suggesting that we do a campaign here, and then we measure and the impact and the outcome of that campaign. We're very data analytic, so we take all this information and we map it, we plot it, we measure it, and we map it. We use GIS technology to be able to do that. So we can tell you where the cameras are, the residential cameras. We can tell you how much of these health and safety measures we put in each of the houses. And it's protected. So we have relationships with 3 of the healthcare providers in the state, Tidal, Bay Health, Christiana, to be able to do the health side of what we're doing with public safety in this particular case. The biggest problem on the health side is indoor air quality, respiratory illness, and so we go in and we identify that, we remediate that, and then we final inspect it and we collect all the data and we report back to the healthcare providers. The biggest problem in the state, and one of the office we have in Dover is set up for legislatively briefing the state, is awareness, just about the data that's being collected and the trends associated with the problems that are in these houses. Whether it's criminal statistics, energy consumption, or health-related issues that cause multiple trips to the emergency room. So we're trying to change that.
Can I ask you, is there any cost to the municipality or to the clients?
So the only cost there would be the LPR technology. Right now, with the funding that we have from the governor's office, we're going to fund the deployment, installation, and the technical support of the LPR technology for 2 years. From the time of it's implemented. After those 2 years, we're going to use the good faith of this council and possibly a letter of support like the chief has just recently written to be able to get more money, to be able to do more of that on behalf of this town. But beyond that, nothing. There's no cost to the town at all.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If I can just share, we got the memorandum of understanding today. So what I had suggested to Mr. Kistler, who I met with the chief a couple months ago, that we would review the MOU and then it would come back to you all for approval. We do have some thoughts about some good relationship building that we can do on behalf of the program with South Coastal Village Volunteers and also with our Ocean View Police Department, maybe some others as well. But again, first step will be to review and have Veronica review the MOU and then bring it back to you. But today you kind of got your first look at the program and what it might offer.
All right, any other questions? For
Mr. Mayor, I have just two. On the cameras, are they in real time being monitored, or in case there's an incident that happens, you can go to the cloud and pull a feed?
Yes, the latter. The latter. They're not actively monitored. The resident will get notified, just like you would if you installed a Ring doorbell or a camera made by Ring. This is a different manufacturer. It's called Arlo that manufactures these cameras. But again, it's a notification to you. The most important thing we're finding is that people can challenge you at the front door. So before anybody opens that front door, they want to know who you are. So they can see you, they can talk to you, and they can verify why you're at that front door. It also allows, for people that are leaving packages on the front door that conveniently disappear. All that stuff gets recorded and put in the cloud for 30 days.
Thank you, sir.
The second question.
I'm good. You
You're
answered
good.
both.
All right.
I think it's a great idea, to be honest, especially from the home safety aspect. Mr. Kistler and I live in the same community. We're like the youth group. There are a lot of seniors in the community, and the fact is that they're going to take care of the installation and explaining of all, the home safety kit. It's great because a lot of people just don't understand the technology today. I just think, if we decide to go into it from my standpoint, I think it's a good idea, especially from the people that are slips and falls, and you look at what you get with the night lights for the pathways in the house, which I have in my house, my wife bought, which is really nice if you have to get up at night to do something. The light automatically, it's a motion detector, gives you enough light that you can see instead of stumbling around in the dark. And that's one of the things that's part of this kit. Personally, I just think it's a really good idea.
I might add that probably one of the most important things I gave in that envelope is called Smart 911, right? So the two gentlemen that were before me, it's important for everyone here to register into this system called smart911.com. Because it's like you sitting in the 911 center, and what you're doing is creating your profile as though you were part of that system. So that if anything ever happens in your home, from your phone, you would call and automatically it would populate in front of the dispatcher, the 911 dispatcher. So it saves time on the response because you're creating your own profile for which no one would know more about the details of it than you. It's free and the state has paid for it in all 3 centers, so all 3 911 centers. So I would encourage you, when I come back and we do a vote on the MOU, I'm going to ask each one of you to make sure that you've registered, because it's that important. Right?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a few comments. We've done a lot of research into this. I've talked with a lot of my fellow police chiefs that have already been working with Health Initiative now for quite some time, and we're excited about it. We have been moving forward with the LPR, the license plate reader cameras. We hope to have those installed by summer. It should be in the very near future. We have a 2-year agreement in place at no cost to the town for 2 years. After that, there's no obligation to pay. If we don't want to keep the system up, then we can just have the cameras removed, and we're under no obligation to continue beyond that 2-year period. We've talked with Charlie also about working with folks involved with our senior check-in program. We have a lot of seniors that are home alone, that are on fixed income. While Ocean View in general is an affluent community, we do have some older folks that are here that are living alone on a very fixed income that could benefit from this program. I would encourage the council to support this initiative.
Well, Mr. Kistler, thank you very much for coming today and making this presentation. I think it's a worthwhile endeavor for us and for our citizens, and I was actually very interested when we got the paperwork that you were coming, so I could hear what you had to say. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. All right, so you can keep the envelopes for the test when I come back from here.
I just wrote in my register.
Thank you. Okay, we next item is the 2022 annual report of the Historic Village of Ocean View.
Yeah, and the report is required of the historic village, and just really for your information, a lot of good information, very busy year. And just if you just want to accept that you've received it, that's all we really need.
Okay, well, I think this is great. I've not seen this before. I don't know if this is the first one, but it's very useful for us to know what's going on with the Historic Society.
Yeah, it's more formal. It's not the first one.
Okay.
I think it's just kind of been check off the box that they have to provide something every year, but now that it's been done more formal, and I thought I'd provide it to you in this way.
Thank you. The next item is a statement from me. The statement I would like to make is out of respect to the town election process, I have refrained from making public comments on recent statements made by Mr. Jennison concerning the town government. As mayor of the town of Ocean View, I categorically condemn the reckless and misleading comments made in recent weeks by Mr. Jennison to the Coastal Point and radio station WGMD. To be clear, to date, Mr. Jennison has neither produced nor exposed any factual information to the town regarding the speculative statements of opinion. I can, however, state as fact that all of Mr. Jennison's concerns that have been brought to the attention of the town have been addressed. The town stands by all actions taken to respond to his concerns, which he has raised in public forum, including the letter from the council mailed to the in-town Ocean Way Estates property owners a full year ago. It has been my experience as mayor of Ocean View that the town council, management, and staff strive to serve the residents of Ocean View while observing the highest ethical standards. I am proud of the manner in which the town's council, management, and staff serve our constituents on a daily basis. I felt compelled through this statement to defend them against what I believe are baseless and misleading comments by Mr. Jennison. Finally, as mayor, and I believe I can speak for the rest of the town council, we look forward to working together on initiatives that are in the best interest of the town of Ocean View and in a positive, constructive manner. Thank you. Is there anyone from the town council that would like to comment?
Yes, I would, Mr. Mayor. I very much appreciate your response. I think we as a council, when these reckless statements were made, I felt very, very bad for the town employees for several weeks to be working, if you will, under those conditions. And I respect totally you not commenting until after the election. But we as a council wholeheartedly support the town employees. They have been a model of excellence. By working with them, they display the utmost in honesty, integrity, and morality that I have not seen in my business life, as well as in the public and private sector. I look forward to working with you and any member of the community that wants to come forward with constructive dialogue and any issues. Those comments were stunning to me, and I'm glad you addressed them, and I thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have one other question, Mr. Mayor. There was some expense that was incurred during one of these allegations by Mr. Jennison or the election process. Carol, can you briefly tell us in general terms how much money was spent?
Yes, I actually just got an invoice today. I can advise that, including the special counsel that was hired to represent the Board of Elections for the special meeting that took place on March 27th because of an election complaint. That was $5,605 for all the engagement. The Board of Election members, their fees that are paid to them for participation in that is $300. And then there was a FedEx mailing to Mr. Jennison of $14.41. All totaled, the experience due to the complaint of Mr. Jennison totaled $5,919.41.
Thank you. I am sure that every department head here, if they had $5,900, they could find a fruitful way to spend on any of the department. Unfortunately, we had to spend that money, and then that gentleman decided to back out of candidates night, and then of course, obviously, the election. I'm glad that's over, and we'll move forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, we'll move on to the reports. The financial report from Joan Parks.
Thank you. Before you have the financial report, as of March 30th, 2023, or March 31st, 2023, real estate, we've collected 99.85% of our current year taxes. That comes down to 6 properties, with 1 property having past due taxes. I want to let you know, on February 15th, the property assessment list was made available to the public for review online or in person. And everyone who had a change in assessed value between January 1 and December 31st of 2022 received a notice of assessment change. The Board of Assessments met on March 22nd for 1 formal appeal, and that was finalized. The FY 2024 tax billing will be calculated on a taxable base as of 12/31/22, and any new construction properties between January and August of '23 will receive a happier billing again this year. To our municipal water system, on March 7th, Middlesex supplied us with a list of 35 properties that were at least 2 months behind in their payments. Calls were made to the owners on March 8th, along with a notice being mailed to them on March 16th. At the time that this rose, at the time I wrote my report, there were 2 remaining, but both paid payment prior to shutoffs that were scheduled on April 5th. So at this point, we only have 1 property without water. Onto our reserve and committed funds, the balances. Our emergency reserve trust fund has a balance of $1,037,804. The capital replacement trust fund has a balance of $1,153,810. The street repair and replacement trust has $3,646,974. Our American Rescue Plan Fund has a balance of $618,888. Do want to let you know that the annual report as of March 31st is due by the end of the month, and I'll be submitting that next week. Our emergency services enhancement funding, as of the end of March, is 26 new home construction permits, and has a balance after we submitted the $80,000 to the Millville Fire Department, has a balance of $1,033,819. Transfer taxes are, as of February 28th, are from 30.3% of new home sales, 3% of land sales, and 66.7% of resales, which comes down to 27 new constructions for this year, 82 resales, and 12 land sales. We did receive our March, and our March is back up to closer to what our norm is at 111,000. And we are right now looking at a good month in April. I think we're still gonna come in a little under what was budgeted, but that goes to show what we've been saying for the last few years, that it's starting to drop. Your financial statement recap are on pages 3 and 4, followed by the March analytics on pages 5 and 6. And I'd be happy to answer any questions for you.
Well, I have, I guess, a comment and a question. I'm surprised that March jumped up to 111,000. I mean, what sold? How many homes sold?
In March,
In March.
only 1 new home, and the rest were, I actually have it with me. I can tell you. It was one new home and 13 resales for the month of March.
Wow. So, looking at the chart here that you had for the collections, and looking through the last previous 2 months, my thinking was that we'd be lucky to make the 1.2 million budget that we had as our goal. If we had not made that, what would we have done in order to have adequate funding in the trust funds?
As you know, the trust funds are based on a percentage of what goes to capital repairs and what goes to street fund, and then it's also a percentage of the operating budget goes to our emergency reserve fund. Anything left over those percentages goes to street repair. So we are still funding our capital repair based on the percentages. We are fully funded in those funds. We are going to be a little short this year and under our transfer tax budget, not by much. looking at what's coming in right now for April, we did take this into account when we did next year's budget, and we have dropped so that we don't underestimate for next year as well. I don't think this is going to affect us being short for the programs or the projects we have planned
Great.
at
Thank
this
you.
time.
Any other questions?
Can I share? So one of the things we talked about during the budget process and, you know, in regards to forecasting is that as we move forward in the next years, we may be massaging, you know, the funding so that we can ensure that our trust funds are still getting the monies that we think that they're going to need with the forecasting for projects and things like that, street repairs, because we are going to see, as we're built out, we're going to see a reduction in these home sales. But also, which this is also showing, is we've got very strong resale happening, and all the things that we're doing, all the quality of life things, the events, the safest place to live, the clean streets, the curbs are getting replaced, the streets are getting repaired, and all of that leads to us maintaining high property values and strong resale if people have choices to buy somewhere else or in Ocean View. So, you know, it's kind of, we're going to see in the next couple years, we're going to see how much we're going to have to massage things and kind of rethink it. But we've already, as you know, we've already been moving in that direction with changes that we're making, with projections.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the public safety report. Chief.
Yes, sir. I'll point out the volunteer unit on March logged 236 hours of service during the month of March. Something else kind of to tag along with that. In years past, we had a very active citizens emergency response team that worked with our local Emergency Operations Center out of Sussex County and also with the Delaware Emergency Management Agency, primarily doing disaster preparedness, training and education. And we're working to kind of restart that program again. One of our volunteers, Ed Donnelly, is taking the lead on that. He's actually going out to Emmitsburg, Maryland, to for some training at the National Emergency Management Institute, and he's going to come back, and we're going to start up our program here in the next couple months in Ocean View. So again, it's another great example of the work that our volunteers provide to the community. I have a list of, you can see we've done a lot of training in March. We're doing a lot of training again in April and May. We've got officers all over the place taking a variety of training. Getting geared up for the summer season that is rapidly approaching. Our community policing initiatives, I want to point out we had our first Coffee with a Cop on March 16th. It wound up being a big success. We got a lot of really positive feedback. So plans are to host a similar type event, possibly towards the end of summer in August, to capture some of the folks that are not in town this time of the year. And there'll be a date forthcoming on that. Some grants that I was able to apply for and receive in March, $4,608.12 to use for 3 RAP restraint device tools, $3,000 in overtime from the Emergency Illegal Drug Enforcement Program, $18,840 for 10 new body cameras from the Special Law Enforcement Assistance Fund. Also, Officer Dylan Murphy graduated from the Dover Police Academy. Myself, the town manager, and Captain Hall were up there to witness the graduation. It was a wonderful ceremony. Officer Murphy is doing well. He is currently out in field training. So we have a minimum 10-week field training program. Sometimes it's extended out to 12 weeks, but I anticipate that he will complete the field training in 10 weeks and will begin patrolling solo sometime around the 1st of June. So all indications are that he's doing very well. You also have a data report for March. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Any questions?
Yeah, does Officer Murphy field train with the same officer the whole time?
No, he rotates
Rotates.
through different officers. The field training officers are all specially trained. They have to complete a field training officer course. But he's, Captain Hall, he's with what, at least three different officers? Dylan, as far as FTO?
He's rotating between 4 officers.
4 officers, so he'll be riding with 4 separate officers. And he will do a brief stint with South Bethany as well with their field training officer. We have dual jurisdiction with them, so just to get him down there and get him familiar with South Bethany should he be called down there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Chief, Chief, again, I commend you on the grants you continue to get every month. The amounts are unprecedented. You continue to support the programs, you continue to train the people, and you continue to make us the safest town, and I appreciate that. I just want to say thank you.
I'll say this, we apply for a lot more than we receive. That's just the way it goes.
That's okay.
But we certainly continue to chase every dollar. Every dollar in grant money that we receive is a savings to the local tax.
If you don't apply, you're not going to get anything, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, kudos to Officer Hopkins on Sunday making the rounds at the local churches. He stopped by and gave us a little heads up. There was some, quote, rumor or intelligence coming down that maybe certain churches were under some type of threat or something of that nature. Very, very good. He stopped by, was very informative, and went to the local churches. And just excellent job, and appreciate that very much. One last question, Chief. If the town gave you $5,900, could you buy or spend something with that?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Chief. Moving on to planning and zoning development, Ms. Lucinda.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Our ADA improvements at Savannah's Landing are going to wrap up, should wrap up next week. I wrote this report last Thursday. Paving is scheduled for Bear Trap Dunes to start on April 17th. That's this coming Monday. Adel Construction is the contractor, and they will be resurfacing Willow Oak Avenue, from Central Avenue to Magnolia Street, and October Glory Avenue from Sycamore Street to Magnolia Street. The property manager has been advised and is disseminating information to the community. Our maintenance folks have begun implementing no parking zones along sections of Willow Oak Avenue and October Glory Avenue. That should take effect later this month when all the signs are in place. It should be completed in about a week or 2. Capital improvements. First 3 items are, no status change. Hudson Avenue pipe culvert project is complete. Restoration of the roadway is going to be put on hold while Sussex County replaces approximately 400 feet of sewer pipe under Hudson Avenue. Our construction managers, while we were out there working, noticed some irregular deflection in the roadway that indicated there may be a problem with the Sussex County utility because the deflection was right over top of their utility. We contacted Sussex County, asked them to video inspect their utility. They in fact did, and advised us that the pipe is settled, it has belly in it, and they're going to need to replace it. That's all being funded by Sussex County. That work will also be completed by Georgia Lynch Incorporated, who is Sussex County's maintenance contractor. I don't have a date for that work yet. We've received no follow-up from Sussex County, but when we do, we'll pass that along. Country Village of Country Estates project is moving along, and we're hopeful that a cleanup and restoration will be completed by the end of this month. That's it in a nutshell. Got some code enforcement, 12 violations for failure to obtain business license or building permits, 6 violations for rental properties, your numbers for permits and COs, and rental and business licenses. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from Mr. Simon? Yes.
Yes, Ken, in the budget year, how much in TAP grants will we be receiving?
Next budget year, we will be receiving, and you don't know because the grant for the one project, the sidewalks on Daisy Avenue and Central going to the canal, it's 80% of the value of the construction contract, and then 80% of the value of construction management, construction engineering, construction inspection. The contracts estimated along with the estimated cost for the construction management, construction engineering. My low end guess is $425. My high end guess is $450,000 we'll receive for that project. And then currently right now, I'm working with our consultant and NDELDOT for the Burson's Nature Center project, where we're getting the scope together for the design services. We already have the construction estimate. Of course, that preliminary construction estimate is going to change because we only have a 10% design. When they do the full design, you'll get a better picture. But our conservative estimate for that low end is about $925,000 for the design. And then construction will be in another out year, and that could be $925,000 is the low end for both construction and engineering. The engineering is estimated for this year, TAP grant of 80% of $150,000, which is $120,000.
Thank you very much. The work being done on the sidewalks down there on Woodland Avenue is going great. I think I've told you, the homeowners are really, when it's all said and done, are loving it because they get to come over and look here on West Avenue. So much less pushback and more of cool, and let's get it done. And last question to you, Ken. If town gave you $5,900 and some dollars, could you spend it on something worthwhile?
Absolutely, I could spend that tomorrow. It would be $5,900 plus additional funding that I need to ask you for in about 5 minutes.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Zimino. Moving on to the town manager report. Carol Howe.
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you. So Bear Trap Dunes, as we discussed before, is going through a conversion to natural gas. That, of course, impacts our facility at 201 Central. We are still engaged with Chesapeake Utilities and our electrician to determine whether or not we will be able to switch to natural gas from propane. At this point in time, I'm still waiting for confirmation of whether we will be able to get some form of a conversion kit. If not able to do so, we will remain on propane and we'll set up an account just for that building for that purpose. If we're fortunate enough, we will transfer over to the natural gas as well. So I'll keep you posted on that. Skip down to annexation discussion updates. Just want to make sure I keep you aware that we have continued our engagement with various HOA representatives. I can provide the development names of Forest Reach, Forest Landing, Lord Baltimore Landing, and we just had another, yesterday, another request to renew engagement with Ocean View Beach Club regarding north section of the development. So all of these are at various stages of information sharing, gathering, or the HOA doing their due diligence on their end. Have nothing formal to present at this time. We'll keep you posted, but I wanted to let you know that we are continuing to engage at the request of the developments. Tingle Street Boat Ramp, just give you a quick update on that. Sussex County has issued a parcel number. You may recall that there was a dock that was in disrepair that caused us to take a look at it, and then into the rabbit hole we fell trying to figure out who owned that. But we finally got to the point that now that has a parcel number, so that it will help to facilitate the owner's engagement with other members of the community of Kelly Estates, with the intention of creating a ramp or dock association that would then be in charge of the maintenance. So we're getting towards the end of this, and apparently the town's looked into this a couple times in the past, so we're gonna hopefully finish it. Muddy Neck Road and Double Bridges Road pavement rehab project. We were notified by DelDOT of their plans to begin this project the summer of 2023. That's the extent of what we have at this point in time. The work will be performed during the day hours between 8 and 6 p.m. and it's expected to last 120 days. We reviewed last week the agreement that we were sent from DelDOT, and can determine certain things that were in it, such as snow removal, signage, and roadway marking that was included that is not typical to be included, and not typical for a town to take over on a state roadway. So we signaled to them that we're not going to be able to sign it with that in there, and it's my understanding it's being removed. We'll fill you in on that as we get that back. Coastal cleanup, sorry for the typo there. Information in the back about the coastal cleanup that the Quiet Resorts Chamber of Commerce is initiating and organizing. We will have at least one roll-off here at the park in the grass parking lot to make it easy for Town of Ocean View residents to participate in this activity. And there's also a way to sign up if you want to participate. It's all in the back. DART Transit Survey. The DART has launched a statewide survey called DART Reimagined Transit Study. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the people that has been asked to be on this committee to work with DART. I want to encourage everybody to take the survey. We get a lot of complaints about there not being enough transit here in our area. Well, now's the time that the people in Ocean View and surrounding areas need to take the survey and be recognized. The survey is open until April 21st. I have written surveys back here for all of the people that come into the building. Of course, South Coastal's helping us with that as well. And I encourage you to take the survey. I've already done so for my family, and I'm hoping, because of all the outreach, we've pushed it to all the HOAs. We pushed it to the different groups that we're engaged with. We have it out on our Facebook. We have it out on our website and OBTV. It's important, and I'd love nothing more to hear that there was a great representation from the Town of Ocean View. Chief has sent it to all of his agencies and people that he deals with. So let's hope for the best with that. And let's hope that it actually is not just a study and that we actually see some change after this is done. MediaCom felt compelled because of conversations at some of the recent workshops and even candidates night. And of course, we keep hearing from local Facebook groups where people are questioning our franchise agreements with MediaCom, and people who don't have the right information are sharing incorrect information, even though we've been repeatedly, feels like the 100th time that I've probably said this, there is no limit to franchise agreements that the town can enter into for cable TV. If other entities wanted to enter into them, I feel very confident that we would do so. But with that said, sharing this information. It's back here again. It's on our website. Please, please read the information, share the correct information. Help us to stop people from sharing incorrect information. Thank you to the Town Board of Elections and to Town Clerk Donna Schwartz, who served as the liaison for the board for their engagement leading up to the recent town election, including their attendance at the special meeting that became necessary, candidates night, and on the day of the election. The service is greatly appreciated and so very necessary. For obvious reasons, due to the late withdrawal from the ballot of one candidate 3 days before the election, our town clerk had her hands full with dealing with the state election board, responding to local newspaper, obtaining state required notarized withdrawal from the candidate that withdrew, and keeping our legal counsel apprised while still completing all of her regular duties. So thank you, Donna. I know you're very happy that, that another election period has come to an end. And from all accounts, everything went very smoothly. That's what we've heard, so good job. Appreciate that. I'm sorry there's so much, but there's been a lot going on. White Creek Dredging Project. Lots going on over the past couple weeks, and a lot of frustration. Heard from people in Ocean View about DENREC's dredging project. We were asked to engage with the Senator Hocker and Representative Gray, and we did, and we found out that they were working very hard to try to get this extended by just a matter of weeks so that the project would get finished. Unfortunately, DENREC did not provide the extension last week, and demobilization began on the week of April 3rd. Just want to make you aware that when they originally came in to mobilize for this project, the town got no word that they were coming, okay? And all of a sudden, these huge trucks with huge, as you can see by the pictures I took, it was not a small project, and unfortunately, a lot of that has been already started to be removed, only to have to come back to finish the project at some time. We're told in the fall, but that'll remain to be seen. We have told DENREC last week that they will not be able to come through our streets again with the trucks, and that we suggest they do all of their laydown area through Holt's Landing, which was used and barged in for the project, for some of the project's mobilization. So just wanted to share that with you. Disappointing that they couldn't just get the approval to finish it. It's actually a safety issue on the waterway, and a lot of people in Ocean View do use it and are not happy with that. That's my report. I also have the report of Public Works and everything that has been accomplished over the past month, and meetings and things that I've attended. But I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have one comment about the Muddy Neck Road, the double bridges pavement. It's unfortunate that of the time frame they want to do this. This is the worst time of the year. That's a cut through for people going to the beach. So now we will have 26 and Muddy Neck Road backed up.
Yeah.
It's just too bad we couldn't have done it some other time.
Yeah, and that was the first thing that Ken and I walked down the hall to each other, scratching our heads. This has been pushed back 3 years?
3 years.
3 years. So we're reluctant to stop it because the road is so in need of repair. If you've ever seen it, you've probably never seen that much crack sealing on a roadway in your whole life. It's like a puzzle. But they did do a very small portion last summer.
There's some patching.
Some patching, but we can engage and we can advise that, but quite frankly, I'm afraid if we do, that it's going to get pushed to the bottom of the list again.
Do we have a start date for that?
All we got right now is summer of 2023, and again, we asked for changes to the agreement.
July 3rd.
So we don't have the new changes. They recognize the email saying that, you know, we're not gonna take care of your striping, we're not gonna take care of your signs, and we're not gonna do the snow removal on your streets. And they said, okay, we'll get that changed and we'll get it back to you. So we're waiting, and I don't know what day that was. I think it was mid to late last week.
It's the end of the week.
If I'm guessing.
I really don't, this is a mill and overlay project. I don't see it lasting 120 days. I think the project duration has an extremely long duration. Hopefully it'll take place after the second week of August, which will still be summer.
Ken, one question. Why don't they use the fringe season? I mean, where are they at during that time period?
The first year it was on the books to start, it was that.
A fall project.
It was full.
Fall or spring?
We can communicate, that they're fully aware, certainly. We're not gonna be saying something they shouldn't understand. But we can communicate that. I just don't want to, compromise.
You know, I actually find it kind of odd, you know, if you think back 10 years ago, and of course Muddy Neck Road, today it might be almost as, have the volumes as Route 54, but it certainly doesn't. It's not the same class of roadway. But they reconstructed that entire roadway, you know, during the summer, during the day. And they got, you know, they got beat up pretty bad about it. So I'm shocked that they're gonna, to mill and overlay a road that's, you know, is a cut-through road and a road lined with communities of folks that have beach homes come down here to enjoy the beach and the beach's amenities. Like Carol said, we can reach out to them, but they should be fully aware of the traffic challenges on Muddy Neck Road.
Hey, Ken, a question. Do you believe that the project is going to require police officers for traffic control? Do we know that yet?
I will reach out to the folks I know at South District and talk with them a little bit about this and see what items are in the project. There probably is an item for that. Also talk about find out when they're thinking they're going to start this and see if we can't get some give and take on the start time.
I agree with the town manager. We don't want to push this off.
Right.
No, right.
But at the same time, you know, it's very commonplace now, especially on weekends, for traffic to be backed up.
It's the first discussion we had, Chief. It was.
Yeah, it just showed up in our inbox. It showed up in our inbox. Yeah. So yeah, it's early in the conversation. We don't have it back, but
It's going to impact Double Bridges, Beaver Dam, Woodland Avenue.
Ken, maybe there's somebody new that doesn't realize that sent this out.
A couple of things, Carol. DENREC is starting the beach replenishment in Rehoboth this week. It was supposed to be Monday, it was Tuesday, and now it's the Thursday. So I know DENREC's a big organization. They can do multiple things, but their focus is going to turn on the beach, and that's going Rehoboth south to Fenwick. So hopefully they'll come back and get this project finished in the fall. And one other question, besides getting Donna on a 2-week cruise vacation for $6,000, what would you do with $5,900 if you had
Me
it extra?
personally?
Is there a lot? No. For the town, no problem,
for the
right?
town, yeah, definitely for the town.
Okay,
There's always something, for sure.
very good, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, then we'll move to the Millville Volunteer Fire Department's report. They had 205 total calls in March of this year, compared to 194 last year. And 86% of those are EMS calls. So you can see why you know, they're coming to us and asking for additional money to support what they do. Of those 205 calls in March, 27 were the town of Ocean View. Okay, moving on to, any further business before we go to citizens' privilege? If not, citizens' privilege on a pre-published agenda listed for discussion, consideration, or items subsequently added at any time to the pre-published agenda for discussion and consideration. If someone chooses to speak on the first citizens' privilege, they would not be able to speak about the same issues on the second citizens' privilege. So I'm opening it up now to the large crowd that we have here tonight, and ask if there are any comments, questions, suggestions. If not, were you about to make one?
I was going to, but that's okay.
Oh, no, go ahead if you want to. Just please stand up and state your name.
So that's it, we have to go back for one. Give me a second. Joseph Tyminski, Ocean View, 33 Fogland Lane. One of the questions I had is when we talked about the camera system, are they, when you talk to the homeowners, are you telling them that's a security thing for their home?
Yes.
So is there any problem with saying that? Because when I looked into security systems for that type of thing, they said unless it was constantly monitored by someone, 24 hours. So is that, I'm just curious, that was just.
So we have to actually sign a waiver.
Okay.
And that waiver explains, one, the fact that they use the camera, but they have no administrative rights to the images that are created in the cloud. We don't want them to modify or refine those images, even if something does happen. But they have full rights to everything that the camera generates to their phone. They have to have a smartphone, they have to have a Wi-Fi network, those are the eligibility.
But no expectation of, okay. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? If not, then we're moving to new business. We've already discussed item B. Are there any new ordinances to be introduced? No. Moving on to item C, discussion, consideration, and possible voting on the water service agreement with Tidewater Utilities Incorporated, amendment number 4. Don Parks.
We've received amendment 4 from Tidewater, which gives us the 5 years of our rates for operating and maintenance services and meter readings. And I think it went over to our town solicitor, and some changes were made to it. She had a couple things added to that.
Thank you, Ms. Parks. Mayor and council, we made minor revisions to this agreement. When the agreement was initially done, Tidewater reserved the right to have certain obligations under the agreement performed by one of its solely owned subsidiaries. That solely owned subsidiary is performing some of those obligations under the agreement. So the only thing that myself and one of my partners recommended to the town was that we add that subsidiary as a party to the agreement. So we would not only have Tidewater on the agreement, but their subsidiary. So that has been added, the subsidiary has been added as a signatory to the agreement. And in terms of, what was advertised and posted, nothing fundamentally has changed with the rates or the fees or anything. We simply added a party. And we think it's in the best interest. And I was notified today by Tidewater that they would accept the agreement as modified.
Okay, thank you.
So we're asking for a motion to adopt the agreement, water service agreement amendment number 4. And we have the as modified, and so again, you have the document before you, both showing the changes that were made and the fully modified document. And that's what we would need.
Okay. Any questions?
Just real quick, Mr. Mayor. So this is the document with changes, and that's with all the changes incorporated, a
Correct.
cleaner copy, if you will.
Correct, Councilman Cobb, the changes have been incorporated into the clean copy.
Thank you.
Any further questions? If not, then I need a motion to adopt the water service agreement with Tidewater Utility, amendment number 4.
Motion to adopt the water service agreement with Tidewater Utilities Incorporated, amendment number 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes. Thank you. The next item is discussion, consideration, and possible voting on a resolution establishing a fee schedule for the town of Ocean View. Who is going to handle that?
The FY '24 operating budget book that you were given in February included the revised fee schedule. I also, in the front of your packets, put kind of a consolidated recap of the changes. So this is the resolution that will go into effect May 1st for the FY '24 operating year. This will be changes, we haven't had changes in 2 years. The last change to the fee schedule took effect in May of 2021. If you have any questions about certain items, I'd be happy to answer on.
Any questions?
Dawn, question. So what connotates increases and how do you go about that? Do you look at trends? Do you look at other municipalities? How do you come out? All the above?
Yes,
Okay.
a lot of the work that was put into the changes came from Ken's department, where they went out and the licensing clerk actually went out and looked at what other towns were charging for business license, for rental license, where are we with that? One of the other significant changes was the increase of legal fees. With the change in our town solicitor, the fees have changed, so we needed to get up to date with that. So we do have the backup of what all the other towns were charging.
Sure.
And, you know, our rates as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, then I need a motion to adopt the resolution establishing a fee schedule for the town of Ocean View.
Motion to adopt the resolution establishing a fee schedule for the town of Ocean View.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Discussion, consideration, and possible voting on a recommendation to award municipal maintenance contract OVPZ&D 23-10 to George and Lynch Incorporated of Dover, Delaware. Ken?
Yes, advertisements soliciting sealed bids for municipal maintenance services, contract OVPZ&D 23-10 were placed in local newspapers and on the county website in March of 2023. The work involves furnishing all labor, materials, transportation tools, supplies, and equipment necessary to maintain town-owned physical assets such as streets, sidewalks, curbs, open and closed drainage systems, buildings, roadways, signs, and pavement markings in accordance with applicable standards located within the incorporated town of Ocean View. One sealed bid was received and opened on March 24th, 2023. It was from George Lynch Incorporated of Dover, Delaware. The bid proposals were rated utilizing the following criteria: 50% score for firm experience and capabilities, 30% for cost of services provided, 20% for references. It is therefore recommended that the mayor and council authorize the town manager to enter into a 3-year contract with George Lynch Incorporated beginning April 12th, 2023 and ending on April 11th, 2026 for municipal maintenance services.
Ken, do we have an approximate cost per year?
It's basically what we have in our budget line items for, in our operating budget line items for drainage and DPW street repair. So I think this coming year we have, off the top of my head, $80,000 for drainage and $75,000 for DPW street repair.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Real quick, Ken, George Lynch was the only one who did a sealed bid. How about in years past? Is that same, similar, less?
The first one we did, we got 3. One was from a firm that really was from Newark.
Okay.
The other firm was from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. So
Okay.
while they may have been capable, they weren't, based on our criteria that we had in the rating, they were not the most responsive.
And we have a great, so far Lynch has done a lot of work in the town.
They
And,
do. They do work for us, they do work for Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah.
Same deal,
Okay.
municipal maintenance. They do Sussex County's work for them and have for many years.
Thank you.
Any further questions? If not, then I need a motion to approve, to award the municipal contract, maintenance contract, OVPZ&D 23-10 to George and Lynch.
I'd like to
Incorporated.
make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to award the municipal maintenance contract, OVPZ&D 23-10 to George and Lynch, Inc. of Dover, Delaware.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So it passes 5-0. Next item, discussion, consideration, and possible voting on a request for additional funding for OVPZ&D 2207, Country Estates drainage improvements. Ken?
A little bit of background, Project OVPZ&D 22-07 was awarded on June 14, 2022 for a dollar amount of $512,745.48. The work involves furnishing all labor, materials, transportation, tools, supplies, and equipment necessary to construct drainage improvements along South Horseshoe Drive, South Primrose Lane, Windmill Lane, Bridle Lane, Oak Lane, and Frontier Drive in Country Village and Country Estates communities. During the construction of this project, it was determined that the design solution that was chosen has turned out in the field to be less than desirable. Although it's functional, the open spill concept was challenged in many locations, and it was determined that the best solution would be to install pipe and remove the open swales. The cost of the additional pipe project-wide is estimated to be $51,500, which is slightly more than our customary 10% contingency fund for each construction project. It is also estimated that additional funding in the amount of $10,000 will be needed for CMC and CI for construction inspection, construction engineering, and construction management, bringing the total amount of funding needed to successfully complete this project to $61,500. I also want to mention that when we were in the process of awarding this project, if you look at the bids that are attached to this engineer's estimate, what the actual bid was, we used up remaining contingency funds that we had left and set aside in FY '22, and some of the funding in FY '23. Currently, funding is available for these additional improvements in the street repair and replacement trust fund. In order to complete this project, it's therefore recommended the mayor and council authorize the town manager to increase the funding of this project by $61,500. It would be $51,500 to Georgia Lynch Incorporated for a total contract value of $564,245.48, and by $10,000 to Mott McDonald Construction Management, Construction Inspection, and Construction Engineering.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why the project was less than desirable?
Well, several things. You have your design on paper, and you have a 2.5 foot deep ditch, and you look at it spread out over 15 feet. You look, and we have a difference in the grade of the back slope and the grade of the road in the front. And so cable lines, and primary electric services that were running through the ditch that would need to be spliced and relocated. That was probably the more expensive, getting the utilities to come out and relocate the utilities.
Thank you. Any further questions for Ken? If not, then I need a motion for additional funding for OVPZ and D 22-07, Country Estates Drainage Improvements.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion for additional funding, project number OVPZ and D 22-07, Country Village and Country Estates Drainage, in the amount of $61,500.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes 5-0. Last item of new business is discussion, consideration, and possible voting on a request for additional funding for OVPZ and D 23-02, Hudson Avenue Pipe Culvert.
A little background, project OVPZ&D 2302 was awarded on November the 8th, 2022 for a dollar amount of $227,964. The work involved furnishing all labor, materials, transportation, tools, supplies, and equipment needed to make necessary for the culvert replacement on Hudson Avenue. As reported in previous council meetings, this project has been particularly challenging in that utilities were encountered that we were not aware of that needed to be relocated. Damage to the property at 19 Hudson Avenue will also need to be restored. The unusually high water table resulted in overruns to existing quantities for stone and excavation. And additional restoration of the roadway will be needed due to pavement failures that have extended the limits of the construction. So we originally figured we had a 75-foot wide area that we were going to work in and patch and pave that. But just with our equipment going back and forth, the road section being very thin, it's just cracked up and tore up further down towards the yard where we stored all our equipment and materials, which is 2 lots down at 23 Hudson. So it really extended our limit of construction. I mentioned that the county will be doing other restoration work in their area of responsibility. The cost of the additional work is estimated at $23,000, which is slightly more than the customary 10% contingency for construction project. It's also estimated that additional funding in the amount of $9,500 will be needed for construction management, construction engineering, and construction inspection, bringing the total amount funding needed to successfully complete this project to $32,500, which represents a 14% increase above the original contract dollar amount. Again, I attached the request to award this contract from November 8th, 2022. And again, in this award, as you can see on the back side, we, in order to balance this, I'll say balance the bid, in order to be able to award this bid, we used our contingency money up front.
We've said a lot about contingency. I just want to remind everybody that a couple years ago, we started budgeting 10% of our projects that we are aware of for contingency. So, so even though we come back and ask for it, to use it, we put it in, and if it's necessary, it's part of the whole budget process. I just wanted to refresh for whatever that.
Yeah, and
whoever
Carol,
needs that.
in saying that, we have the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's there.
Yeah.
He's just requesting more of those funds to use.
Correct. And for these two, we're also saying that we are going over the 10% for these specific projects, and then identifying other locations for funding as well.
So for the previous project, I could have asked for the additional money to award the bid instead of using my contingency money. I would still be sitting here in front of you today saying this project funding in a lot of way. It's available in our contingency funding line item in the amount of whatever to come.
And just one last comment. And here's where it's become serious. This $5,900. This is where it's serious. That money should be spent here as opposed to other items. That's all I have to say on that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Hey, just one comment. Ken, George and Lynch's work is, and I've seen it throughout the community, they do a great job. And I think our ability and the relationship that you have with them and the town has with them helps us to get a strong bid, but a realistic bid from them. And I think that's a good working relationship, and that's why we give them business, because some of these bids are totally out of bounds, and they always seem to be in a much better ballpark.
Agreed. Neither of these two cases involve a contractor giving a low bid and then coming back after the fact and extra to that for errors and omissions that they found in these projects. The Country Village and Country Estates project was simply, I chose a design that is not, while functional, I don't think it's desirable, trying to relocate the amount of utilities we have crossing those ditches. Cost-wise, we probably would have been paying the utility company as much or more money, and then dependent on their schedule to be able to do the work.
Exactly.
And with this other one, George and Lynch, we need to restore the homeowner's property at 19 Hudson, and neither us or Delmarva Power knew the line that we struck was in the ground.
Any further questions or comments?
Yep, thank you.
Recommendation that it is therefore recommended that the mayor and council authorize the town manager to increase the funding for this project by $32,500, $23,000 to George and Lynch Incorporated for a total contract value of $250,964, and $9,500 to Bob McDonald for construction management, construction engineering, and construction inspection.
Thank you. Are there any further questions?
No.
If not, then I need a motion for additional funding for OVPZ and D-23-02 Hudson Avenue Pipe Culvert of $32,500.
Make a motion for additional funding for project number OVPZD 23-02 Hudson Avenue Pipe Culvert Replacement in the amount of $32,500 increase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So passes. Thank you. That's the end of new business. It's now open to the second citizen privilege, in which you can now speak or ask questions on anything that we've talked about tonight. And it's open to the public. Hearing none, we are going to move into executive session. We need a motion to move into executive session?
Adjourn and go into executive.
Okay, we're going to adjourn and go into executive session. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Correct, if I said it wrong. Motion to go in.
Motion, okay. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Motion to go into executive session.
Can we a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes. I need a motion to reopen the meeting.
Motion, go ahead.
Coming out of executive.
I'd like to make a motion to reopen the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So approved, thank you. Would you like to summarize why we're into the executive session?
We went into executive session to discuss items that are confidential and not open to a public forum at this time. And I'm understanding that the motion to open the meeting again is to terminate the executive session, correct? And we're terminating executive session, and we're now back in open session. So all we need now is a motion to adjourn.
We went in at, what time, Donna? 4:49, and we came out at 5:26.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So passes, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Lots.
That was a lot of work, a lot of